Thank you for tuning in to TalkWad.com, the world's fastest growing internet radio network. Please check out all the other great shows on www.talkwad.com.
TalkWad Radio Network welcomes you to the SpiritPioneers.com channel, where you can find Momma J Speaks, also simulcasted on theartsradio.com channel as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Momma J Speaks show today. It's the day after St. Patty's Day, and how is everyone feeling? I hope everybody calls in today at 727-493-2055. Would love to hear from you because it's someone's birthday today. You got to guess which one, though. Ha ha ha.
Not me.
At any rate, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. I am looking forward to this particular interview today with my special guest, Lonnie Embray. He is actually, in fact, a local entrepreneur and business coach and author. And we'll be diving in a few moments to find out what this man is really about. You're scared, aren't you?
Absolutely.
So, at any rate, just to give you guys an overview of anyone that's new that is tuning in, or, finally somebody said, oh, check out Momma J. Well, you can find me on Twitter at MommaJ3511. You can find me on Facebook at MommaJSpeaks.com. And also know that my show is about everything in life, the faux pas of life. I bring on artists, musicians, authors, entrepreneurs, environmentalists, everybody that has a cause, an inspiration, and has a spiritual connection. That is what my show is all about. So I love to hear from you all with feedback and encourage you all to join in, or actually contact me on Facebook or here at the studio and see about being on my show as a guest. It's a nominal fee, $40. It helps support you. It helps support my show, and it goes around for everybody. Also, I want to promote a crowdfunding that I've created for Concepts of Reality, Core Center for Divinity. You can find that at gofundme.com/core-center for divinity. And I look forward to having some people look into that as well. So, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
How was your weekend?
Absolutely wonderful.
Oh, awesome. Did you get to go to all the St. Patty's Day events?
I made it over to O'Brien's last night. That was pretty active. A lot of people over there on Dale Mabry out there having the green beer and going out and
Did you have a lot
celebrating
of
it.
green beer?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
I'm a lightweight.
Oh, that's all right. I don't even drink beer. That's not
No.
too much my shtick. But anyway, so you know that you're Lonnie.
Yes, I do.
And you know that you're an entrepreneur and a business coach, and people can contact you at fortunesuccesscoach@gmail.com, right?
Yes, that's
For
correct.
any questions or any other ways that they want to ask you about getting into business or anything
Yeah,
like
any
that?
kind of coaching needs or anything that they just like to know about that they can do. They can give me a call or text me or
Okay. So what exactly have you been doing with your entrepreneurialness?
well, actually we actually have a commercial syndicate that has over 6,000 participants that is vested in a couple of different ventures that we're doing at this time. And basically we have a group scenario in which we participate with a couple of different programs that we've done our homework on, our due diligence on, and is making us good returns for our group.
Oh, wonderful. And where has this primarily been occurring for you? Has it been just in this particular area or has it been beyond?
Throughout the country.
Throughout the country?
Throughout the country.
Okay.
And anytime somebody brings me something that I think is going to be useful for those in my life, that we see a good money making opportunity, we'll review it, and as long as it goes through our litmus test and passes certain standards, then we'll bring it to those around us in that process. You know, we've used the process of gossip in a good way rather than a bad way. Most people want to spend their time telling everyone about all the negative in their life. And we don't do that. We bring them the good in their life. A lot of people tend to keep the good in their life to themselves, share the bad. I'm of the philosophy, deal with the bad in your and share the good.
Ah, okay. So, why have you decided to be an entrepreneur as opposed to a person that punches the clock like many of us in society has been, you know, conditioned and trained and because we've done the 40-hour work week through schooling for 12 years.
Well, quite simple. I actually went to college and I dropped out after the first semester. I had a 4.0 GPA, and I recognized that most professors had not had the life experience to go out and be an entrepreneur or a businessman or a woman. That they were teaching it, but they didn't know how to actually do it themselves. So my premise is, I'm not going to tell you to do something unless I've done it,
Well,
unless I've
that's
tried it.
good.
It's bad business to sit there and say they do what I say and not do what I do.
Well, that also brings up the fact that a lot of people in general, they've had parents do as I say, not as I do.
Absolutely. We all have that problem. So, what I determined is very simply this. Um, and it's something I try to live by. If you work in another man's field, at the end of the day, it's still his field. He can throw you out whenever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you build your own field, now it's your own field. I mean, obviously, some people have to work a job while becoming an entrepreneur because they've got to learn the skills needed. And entrepreneur doesn't just mean owning your own business.
There's a
Um,
lot of other things that goes along with it, correct?
Absolutely. You have to find things that will make your money passively grow. There's a book I read that was very motivating. It's called The 4 Hour Work Week, and it's creating income streams that will constantly work for you, so that you're not married to a timetable or a job in which you can't go and be free. Most people working until they are ready to retire on a non-existent pension. Um, with non-existent retirements, and then they spend the rest of the time trying to go and travel overseas when they can no longer enjoy their life. Do it while you're young. Do it
Absolutely.
in that process.
Well, everyone, I hope you're enjoying this interview. We're going to go throughout the course of this show, and I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into his brain and also help you guys to understand that some of the things that he's going to be sharing with us today is something that you could also utilize in your lives in certain aspects and everything. And he's also going to share a way that you could contact him and be able to get some free business coaching or something that we'll share probably by the end of the show
Yeah,
at some point.
absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. So, you're an author. You actually wrote a book.
Too.
Woo! I congratulations. I'm impressed because yeah, I flubbed that one. So, what was this book that you had written particularly? So, for our listeners and viewers, if they want to Google it or go on Amazon or something, they could find it.
If you go on Amazon and you Google my name, Lonnie Embry, you'll see two books. One's called Authored with Rachel Embry, and that the two books are one is on your first year in network marketing, building the network marketing business, um, which necessarily isn't my recommendation to do. It's hard to cut your teeth into that arena, and a lot of people think they'll do well, but it's made for a certain breed of person. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the secondary book was on stopping how to avoid foreclosure scams because of the different
Oh,
foreclosures. I was in the mortgage business for several years. I was known. I owned Cannon Mortgage Services for over 10 years. I was a mortgage professor on the radio. and educated people on how to have good, sensible loans and not some of these wacky, crazy loans that were out there. And foreclosure scams, the same thing, how to prevent your house from being basically stolen from you, and ways that you could keep it and recognize when somebody was just trying to sweep the house out and short sale it from underneath you, and when to use that and when not to.
Oh, well, a lot of people get to that point where they just get so overwhelmed with the pressure, and then you add in the emotional and psychological stress of everything. And so by the time that happens, they're ready to bail ship no matter what, because I went through that myself
Absolutely. The
in my
problem,
life. Like, I was like, please just get it off
oh yeah.
me. I'll take whatever you can give me. Oh, 2 grand? Really? Oh, okay.
Well, and the challenge in that, when people begin to realize most challenges that we have, I don't believe in problems as much as challenges and obstacles. When we begin to separate ourselves from the personal, emotional part of the situation and elevate ourselves to look at it, there's always a way out.
Hmm.
There's always a calculated way out where you can minimize your risk or your loss and maximize your gains. And that's what people have to learn to do when they're in the heat of the moment. And that's part of being an entrepreneur too, is learning to separate yourself from the ups and downs of those challenges and being able to react accordingly.
Right. Well, along with that, because a lot of people go so emotional when they're in that point, it's because they don't have the tools within themselves to look within right now. And so, something that I did last week was take these workshops with a Dr. Michael Rice. If you go to whyagain.org, you will find his information and tools are just absolutely amazing and second to none. I'm always searching and looking for new knowledge, new learning ideas, whatever. And this is someone that I've recently come across to spend a wonderful week doing all of his workshops, from forgiveness work to and purpose to healing with relationships to living laws of living and some other ones. So probably in my next episode next week, I'll get more into that and share some of the worksheets and stuff that we used and whatnot. But I just want to somewhat introduce you all to that to consider. So, what are some of the biggest inspirations in your life that has led you to this path?
I guess the motivation that I needed was to become better. I see people starving every day out there that are kind of defeated with their heads hung down low. And they're struggling to make ends meet. They're kind of lost, and I think a big part of it is not knowing who you are.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter is a very big inspiration for me, and I look at some of the statistics that happen around here in America. After 1 year of living here, a Korean family that comes over from Korea will actually make more median income than the average American. And so they're
Wow.
coming from an oppressed country. They recognize the most valuable thing that we have here,
Mm-hmm.
and that is freedom. And we have the freedom to make as much or as little as we want to. And the problem is that we're giving that control over to other people. So I
Yes.
want to help wake people up in the fact that, hey, don't allow somebody to tell you how to manage your money. Don't allow somebody to tell you how to think. Don't allow somebody to tell you what you can and can't do and place limitations on you upon you. Don't allow somebody to tell you you can only work this job or you're only good for picking up trash. You have got to raise the bar yourself because nobody else is going to do that.
Right. But a lot of that comes from doing the work within. And until a person is really ready to understand and go through that process, that's where a lot of people are kind of stuck.
Hmm.
And so, with everything that's been going on in this world right now, and um, the paradigm shift, the new awakening, and everything, that is to help people along the way to wake up. This is part of what my show is about, to give you these new outside of the box ideas to bring people on, like Lonnie Embry, who is kind of being on both sides of the world, not only the spiritual, but also the physical ego based aspect of the world, where we have to worry about money and worry about this and worry about that. Some of the really good books that have come into my life right now that I'm reading is Jesus CEO by Lori Beth Jones.
Very good book.
And even Mystics Have Bills to Pay, Balancing a Spiritual Life and Earthly Living by Jim Rosemerger. Murgy. Yeah, that's it. So if any of you want to kind of check out those books and find them, that'll start opening your eyes, opening your mind to new levels of awareness, because that's what it's really about, is becoming more aware. So where do you want to see yourself within the next 6 months to a year?
Within the next 6 months to a year, I want to start a dental bus. And the dental bus is going to be very similar to a blood mobile, in which free dental care will be provided, and we'll have centers in which you can volunteer work in exchange for the dental work, and then have the dental work provided to do minor dental care for the public. Probably start here in Tampa and then expand to other areas after the test phase to see how it goes.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're going through, this is a new process that came about during these workshops. It's so cool. You set your intention, and then you break it down to the plan.
Yes.
And then from the plan, you do your daily goals.
Yes.
And it's a step by step process. You can't expect to have all your goals met. You got to do it in little increments and little chunks, because then that's when most people end up procrastinating and not getting done what they set out to do. And then they put the guilt trip on themselves.
Well, the first thing to recognize is the most important, and people tend to not pay attention to it, and that is intention. Intention is not, I'm going to try. I'm not going to think about it. It's, I intend to do this. I am committed to finishing it, to put it into play, and to making it happen. Once that mindset is taken, then you make your goals, because less than 5% of this country has goals. They don't have it in writing. Oh, it's in my head. If it's not written on paper, it is a thought which will perish. It'll go away and fade. And so once you begin to realize this and you put those goals into writing, then you can put it into a step-by-step plan to enact it. And then you overcome the obstacles as they arise.
Well, I got a worksheet for you. Oh, and I'm definitely going to use it. At any rate, how do you want people to perceive you? As far as what I'm meaning by that is, when you're an entrepreneur, and even in your personal life, don't know what it really is or anything, how is it, does it matter how people think of you or how people perceive you? Or is it you're just primarily like, this is what you got. Here I am. Be with it, not deal with it, not like, or do you take into consideration other people? Like, how does that work for you?
I always consider other people. However, there's too many people trying to be something they're not. And they try to act like they're something they're not. They don't have the integrity to do what they're supposed to do. As long as it's easy, they do the right thing. But when it's hard, they don't. And I don't ever want to be known to be that kind of a guy. I'm the guy that answers my phone when somebody calls. I don't wait for 24 hours to call you back. Whoever came up with a business mindset, we'll get back with you in 24 hours. In business, a horrible idea. We need to get back to that personal relationship where somebody calls, I answer. Hey, what can I do for you? And to help our fellow man, instead of looking at, people hear entrepreneur, all the guys just trying to make money or this, that, and the other. Money's the byproduct of what we do. However, if you help enough people get what they want, and you provide good service and good education in that process, they're going to help rise you up to where you want to be as well. I do not believe anyone ever becomes successful as an entrepreneur or is ever perceived as a successful person without rising those around them up as well. But you don't spend time rising people that don't want to be risen.
Mm-hmm.
And just because somebody says they want to be risen doesn't mean that their actions will perpetuate that rise. You're going to have struggle. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days, and you need to be prepared for that. But it's how your mindset comes apart as you have those challenges, do you quit? Do you roll over? Are you doomed? Or do you keep going forward and overcome?
And you're typically overcoming, right?
Absolutely.
I think I've heard you say, "Oh, I got to go into battle."
Absolutely.
Is life really a battle, or do you feel that life is going to be shifting where it's a matter of how we want to view it? We can view it as a battle, or we can view it as peace and love and rainbows.
Depends on what the situation is. There are times for battle. There are times for joy. There's times for happiness. There's times for peace. There's a time for each phase of your life to go through that. I look at life as a real good journey. You know,
Adventures.
absolutely. Live
Let's go
life.
rock climbing.
Hang gliding.
Hang gliding, bungee jumping. Oh,
Bottom line is do the things that you're afraid to do, and then you'll no longer be afraid to do them. But I look at it as I'm indestructible till God says otherwise.
right.
So go out there and put it on the line.
So, what have you done lately that you were afraid of that you did?
Skiing and skateboarding.
And how did that work out for you?
Skiing was perfect. Skateboarding, I hurt myself. I will never step on a skateboard again. I just recognized I'm not made for skateboarding. But at least I tried it.
Well, there you go. Everybody, you see, perfect example. Just give it your good old college try and see what happens.
Big guy in a skateboard, not necessarily a good combination.
I wonder if somebody videotaped that and put it on YouTube.
I'm glad they did not. I do not think that was the case.
Or bloopers or something.
Yeah.
Got to see the humor and everything.
I was showing my daughter and I fell right on my tail. So.
Aw, is your tailbone okay?
Oh yeah, it was just my foot.
Oh wow, you lucked out because that tailbone would have really made you walk funny.
I did that big half hike thing and did that okay and fell, but then I did it again. When I hurt myself, it was really a small piece.
Wow, really?
But see, in skiing, you lean forward,
Mm-hmm.
and the boots are made for that. In skateboarding, if you lean forward, the board will go out from under. You have to lean back, and I did not do that. So
hey,
I never took any lessons.
I never knew that.
I didn't take any lessons. I just tried to figure it out on my own.
Yeah, well,
idea.
That's what you usually do, though, right? You usually do stuff to figure it out on your own.
That's the point. A lot of people that don't take lessons end up doing a very bad job or not enjoying it. That's why it's important to have a mentor or somebody that can actually help you learn as you go. I've got a very good mentor who's been mentoring me for 3.5 years, and it's been priceless, the lessons I've learned, and I can pay it forward. And, I tell any of my students that when they learn, that they need to pay it forward as well.
Does any of you out there want to be his student? How could someone become your student?
Well, typically I charge $5,000 for a monthly training.
For how long?
Students.
Like how long does that last?
That's for a month of getting me every day. However, I'm going to waive that fee for anybody that hears this show, that if they participate in the 2 programs that I'm participating in right now as an entrepreneur, and I'll share that with them privately whenever we talk. But if they actually participate in that and I bring them into our group, then I'll mentor them on what I'm doing and how to do it, and I'll waive that fee.
And how can anybody that is listening or watching be able to get in touch with you?
Email me at the Fortune Success Coach, or they can turn around and text me at 352-201-2825. No phone call, because I don't want to have to put the call to voicemail. Just tell me who you are, what you're interested in, and I'll call you back. And
make a note that you've heard him on the Momma J Speak show, so he can definitely tell who's who.
Absolutely.
As opposed to some random other person.
Yes.
You can get random people from my place.
I get called all the time. So.
Yeah. Just call you Allie. No, just kidding. So, how do you really personally measure success? Is it by little wins, or the people that you recruit that end up going farther along, or is it ultimately when you get the big ultimate win? Like what's that for you?
Success is everyday wins and not quitting when you have overwhelming obstacles and challenges. But the true measure of success, I believe, is when the people around you have the same or greater success and they've adopted it as if they did it themselves and they don't even realize that you helped them get there.
Hmm. So, yeah, I've been learning that one. It's called copy. Is the biggest form of flattery. I'm still working on it because I don't know how to copy people.
Yeah, they say that the
But
biggest form of flattery is mimicry.
make it, well, yeah, do it the nice way. I say it blunt. Yeah, copy. No. But at any rate, any of you that are listening, go ahead, get on the lines. You have to be curious about anything that he might be saying or everything that he's saying. 727-493-2055. There are people that are probably recovering from St. Patty's Day though.
Absolutely.
So I'm here because I didn't go into recovery. And I just love being here. I love doing my show. I love having guests like yourself. I want to thank all my other former guests that have been on my show. Definitely be in touch with me again soon so you can come back on whenever possible. And then I also want to know, have you found a deeper connection spiritually throughout being an entrepreneur and business coach?
Absolutely. I mean, we have to have a source other than ourselves to um, be successful, in my opinion. I rely on God quite often to get me through as my resource and my provider and provision and just my overall confidence a lot of times to know that He's got my back and has me covered. And so I think it's very important that you have a spiritual time uh, of prayer and meditation and in preparation before you just blindly run into anything. And it gives you help with who you deal with and doors open and places they wouldn't open and opportunity comes and these strangest places.
Mm, very nice. Very nice. Very good. So, what exactly? So you've said that you've had your own business coach, right, or your mentor,
Yes,
and you have mentored other people.
yes.
And what type of mentor do you think your students have perceived you as
Depends on the student.
compared to how you perceive yourself as a coach?
It depends on the student. Some students are very grateful. Some students are very frustrated because if the student is lazy or lacking in certain skill sets that is needed to move forward, I will put pressure on that student to raise the bar or to sit down because they have to do something. An object in motion must stay in motion until affected by an outside force. So people tend to go in a direction, and their direction that they're going in is without thought or pattern. And so when a mentor comes in, their job is not to do it for you, not to complete you in that process, but to wake you up and jar you into motioning into a different direction that'll gently prod you into the right direction for you to go. And it's not an easy job being in that position because a lot of times your mentor wants it more for you than you want it for yourself. And so because of time being so valuable and learning to maximize my time, I have to weed through who is going to really want to go and become what they say they are and who's just thinking about it without the power of intention.
Okay. So, how many people out there do you have that moment? Would you even allow somebody to mentor you? And in what conditions and what would it take for somebody to be a mentor, which is in essence it's a teacher type of scenario? Are you, or does it create something within you that pushes you away because it triggers something else in you that was not too interesting for you, or it wasn't very much a positive thing for you in any capacity, but somebody comes into your life to genuinely help you. What is the conflict, and what are some of the things that comes up from that? Because it's a process, right?
Yes, there's an old saying, birds of a feather flock together. And so if you're not happy with your income, you're not happy with where you're at, look at your top three friends in your life, and you'll see that you're probably very close to the same in that process. And so what I had to learn to do, which was hard for me because I'm a type A personality. I'm going to do my own thing, go my own direction. Is I had to learn two rules that my mentor set down, which is one, do not argue with me too much, because he
Mm-hmm.
knew I'd argue, I'd dispute it, because I had to change my way of thinking, and we don't realize how much we've been ingrained in the way we think, the way we respond. Since we were a child, we've been taught and programmed how to do things in a specific way. And the older we get, it's harder for people to actually want to change. They want to change, but they really don't want to go through the trouble of adjusting in that change.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's a patience factor on the mentor side. It's a patience factor on the student side. The student must be really willing to learn and must take all their inhibitions, their fear, preconceived notions, and what they think they know, and set it on the back burner. Because if you are full of those things,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot receive anything new in which to fill up the space. You know, a cup that is full will run over if you try to put more stuff in it. You've got to empty it out first before you refill it. People are the same way, and they don't realize it. They're junked up with their preconceived notions of what they can and can't do, their ability and inability. Um, and they placed limitations on them, not because they really wanted to place the limitation on them, but it was placed on them from a child. No, you can't do that. No, you can't become that. No, you can't figure
Oh,
these things
yeah.
out.
In our society, we're definitely in the no zone.
We got to
Know
start,
this, know that.
instead of doing no,
Yeah, you can do
we got
it.
to start saying yes. We got to
Yeah.
start saying yes on everything.
Well, that's one of the good things about part of my parenting. The one good thing, whenever my children were like toddlers and stuff, yeah, I do the regular, but then I'd be like, well, I'd ask them, do you really want to do that? Do you think you can do it? And my little guys would say, okay, show me. And they would show me and prove to me that they could do it. So I've instilled in my children that anything that they put their minds to, they can make it happen.
Absolutely.
And boy, do they. And they've become so independent, like highly independent, very opinionated. I cannot imagine where they got that from.
Well, on top of that, we are powerful beyond measure. We just
Oh,
have to
yeah.
understand and realize that and embrace that in our life. Doesn't mean we defy the laws of gravity and defy the laws around us.
No, not yet.
But yeah, we have to we have to understand what they are and apply them.
Yes, because there are
and move
universal
forward.
laws.
Correct.
Have you read the Universal Law book?
No, but I've understood gravity from several falls.
Well, that's good. You should have tried. Oh, have you been? I know you probably don't watch too much like random TV, do you?
No, that's if you want to make money, one of the things you should do in front of your TV is put a sign that says AIR on it. AIR. Automatic Income Reducer.
Oh, very good. I like that little acronym. But anyways, just for random sake, I've seen these little commercials or blurbs here and there about this new reality show about taking celebrities and turning them into Olympic quality divers.
What?
Yeah, and the show is called Splash. I thought it was like a new rendition of Splash the movie, and they were going to turn it into a series or something. And no, like I was going to be, oh, cool for that aspect of Splash. But this particular show is taking all these random celebrities and teaching them how to dive off like the really, really, really high ones and stuff. And I'm like, are you really? What?
And you know what? People will watch the mindless dribble rather than go out and think for themselves.
I mean, And then they have this other show called Duck Dynasty about people that go and hunt for ducks. I'm just like, really? This is the
Hey, now,
quality?
don't knock a good duck hunting if you haven't gone a duck
All
hunting.
right, I admit I've never gone duck hunting,
Right.
but I can't even imagine killing Donald Duck
Understandable.
and all of his, compadres and
There is
family
a crowd
members.
for that, though.
It
There
is.
is a crowd for that.
It,
It's something for
I
everybody.
I do. I'm just approaching it from discernment of I do
Where's the value of
understand
TV?
and the whole aspect of ignorance is bliss.
I don't watch the news for that reason. I mean, if it's
Right.
something major, I'll hear about it from other people. But all that negation,
Like the new pope.
who's that?
Oh, you didn't hear about the new pope?
Nope, I didn't hear about the new pope.
He's from Argentina.
Okay.
And he's a pope for the people. Like when he was invited to hang out with all the popes and
So
party
he's
it
the
up.
PP.
Yeah.
Pope for the people.
Yeah. He's a poppy.
Poppy.
But anyways, so apparently this particular pope had the opportunity to, gather with all the other popes, the conclave or whatever it is, party it up, this, that, and the other thing. And because his country isn't doing so tremendously economically, he told them, no, I'm going to stay here and be with my people and pray for them and this, that, and the other thing, you know? And so it's like, wow, a man with a heart. It's so beautiful. And so he's now the Pope in Rome, and he's going to be changing how everybody dresses instead of wearing the attractive red garb and stuff like that. Black. Get down to simplicity. Get down to the oneness with the people, with God and self. Really bring back the unity of people. And I just thought that was really cool. Of
I'm
course,
surprised it's black, though, because black is the color, it's supposed to be the color representing sin.
no,
Red,
it's the color
blood, and-
representing all the colors mixed in together.
I didn't know.
What are the contents of your mind?
I was told white was for purity.
No,
Thus,
white.
the brides are married in white. For
Yeah,
purity.
well,
Okay.
it's
so
all a matter
you
of.
never see. Black
Well,
black
just-
is for mourning.
so,
Think
okay.
about it that way. So now you're going to put a mourning pope out there, mourning the condition of the world.
Well, it all depends on the content of one's mind.
That's true.
If you want to perceive that this pope is in black based upon the mourning of everything because that's what you've been conditioned with or that's what you've been taught all your life, then of course you would see it as that. But if you are somebody that has raised your level of awareness and some other things and in the whole aspect of the spiritual realm, you start to realize that black is really it's what we choose to give it. Just like with anything else, it's a matter of what we choose to give it pertaining to the experiences and to everything that has occurred in our own personal life experience. So you take, for instance, you say BS. Automatically, what comes to mind?
Brothers and sisters.
Or belief system.
There you go.
Or the bull hit the whatever. So it's all a matter of paying attention to the contents of one's mind that deciphers what is actually being viewed and seen.
Correct.
Isn't it interesting? So I just wanted to share a little tidbit of the Pope.
Very interesting.
So, what is and how has been the biggest lessons of your life that you have learned? What has that been like for you?
I think that there's accumulation of disappointments and challenges and obstacles that have occurred in my life that have only made me stronger. And things that I thought were like totally devastating ended up not being anything more than lessons to make me stronger, to move forward. And that way I could use that strength to the benefit of other people around me to help them get through it. Versus, being a person that sticks their hand in the sand and does nothing about what's happening around them. So I didn't want to be that kind of a guy. And so I didn't want a lot of challenges in my life either. Nobody does, but I've recognized that those challenges help you raise the bar to become something more. It helps you grow. Without those challenges, and times, everybody wants to get to the top of the mountain, but nobody wants to endure the climb. But the enduring of the climb is what helps you appreciate the top of the mountain even more.
Yeah. I just, and what also comes to mind is the fact that that analogy, tomato. Y'all are getting used to my speaking, right? And the way I
Hmm.
think. Because you're in Mama J's world. At any rate, when we've had discussions, because we have debatable discussions at times,
Yes.
and when that has come to mind, it finally dawned on me that when you are climbing a mountain per se, and you have people that are in front of you and behind you, and you're kind of levering each other along and everything. But when you get to that point where you have too many people in your life or on this rock climbing up it, that unfortunately, if something happens to them, it becomes a form of dead weight, or they're not viable to help with the ultimate goal, then at some point you do have to make that difficult decision
Cut the rope.
to cut the rope. And that was a really huge aha for me recently with certain things in my life and everything. So thanks, man.
It's hard. I mean, that's one thing that being the in your face, no no holding back entrepreneur that I am, I have to have those hard conversations. But I've had those hard conversations with myself first. It's not the popular conversation. It's not what's easiest or what feels the most comfortable sometimes that is the right decision. And I mean, think about Donald Trump. Donald Trump does what he needs to do to be what he is, and he's provided great service to this world. He's not always the most liked, most valued. Oh, he got lucky. No, he built it from scratch, just like everybody else.
And then he's had some failures, and then he builds it back up again. And I gotta give the guy credit. He fails and he gets back up. He fails, and gets back up.
Well, and think about this. Is it really failure? We use failure with a loose term these days. Oh, he failed because it didn't go right. Thomas Edison did not experience failure. He only found 999 ways that did not work to creating the light bulb.
That's what it is.
Had
He
he
found
looked at-
all the ways for it not to work, so he could find all the right ways for it to work.
It's the condition of our mind. If we
Right.
train it as failure, then we stop, we fail.
Right, and
If we train it as something that didn't work and let's change that, it's all, I mean, and everything for success really goes down to our viewpoint.
absolutely
Are we looking at
how
it?
we've been conditioned.
And so that conditioning has to change. I found myself at one point to be a very negative person, very worried and doom and gloom when something wouldn't go right. And I had to begin to be unconcerned about it. If you fear something, those fears will come true.
Oh yeah.
You create them into existence. And once you experience those fears and you find out it doesn't kill you, well, then you can make a decision to no longer experience that and change your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if more people would recognize that and take personal ownership and responsibility, this world would be a much better place.
Well, it's working on it. It's all evolving to that point.
Absolutely.
Little by little by little. So, how important is balance in your life of God, family, career? Do you have
Very.
family? Do you have
Yes.
relations? Like, what's going on with the God and the family and the career? And do you put God first, family second, and career, or is it God first, career, and like? How do you juggle?
Some days very good and some days very badly.
Yeah.
Um, I intend to keep God as the first and foremost because without God, there is no point. Before me in all that I do. At times, I've placed career over the value of my family. Said my family was more important, but in the acquisition phase of my life, I became distracted at times and would work way too much. What I have done now is found I'm much more effective by setting certain times that are non-negotiable. I have time with my daughter on a Thursday. I get my daughter every other weekend after a divorce. Um, I get my daughter at specific times, and those times are non-negotiable. Those are her times, and I find that everyone else seems to understand that, and business is around those times. So I'm able to give her my undivided attention. I've learned to play hard, work hard, and build relationships. I one of my big things is Facebook. I had a lot of people on Facebook that I've never talked to that want to send me a request for a cow or a pig or
Oh, that Farmville. I
yeah.
can't stand those.
Well, those things are just
Don't do
distractions.
that.
They're just distractions. So what I've done is I actually put a post on Facebook basically saying, look, if you're not my friend, if you're not doing business with me, if you're not interested in hearing what I'm doing, or you don't want to go for a cup of coffee, get off my Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And some people got really upset about that. But what I've learned is there are time stealers in our life. Sometimes people are time stealers because they just want to rehash their negativity in life instead of becoming part of your life. If someone will not take the time out to have a cup of coffee with you and get to know you and listen about your life and find out about who you are, then really, what's the point? If you can't have a relationship with somebody, be it a business relationship, and even in business relationships, I like to take a few minutes out to get to know the man that I'm dealing with or the woman I'm dealing with. Who are they inside? Who are they as a person? Because you could have the sweetest looking deal in front of you, but if the man or the woman that you're doing business with does not have themselves together, there will be challenges in that deal. And so overcoming those obstacles, everybody wants to put on their best impression when they're dealing with you. So I always say, hey, is there anything right here that's going to keep us from moving forward? Is there something on the table I need to know about that's going to be an obstacle? Is there something that will keep you from doing business with me? Something you don't like about me? Because,
Oh,
and
you asked that question?
absolutely. Now, on the other hand,
What
if
do they
there's
say?
usually it's no, but if
Oh,
there's if there's
scared.
if there's a personality conflict,
Mm-hmm. Do you sense it? Do they sense it? And
I
then,
think sometimes we do, and I'll call them on. Hey, look, I get the feeling that you're either not being forthright with me, or I get the feeling that you're uncomfortable with me. And which one is it? And then we'll get through it. And if we can work through it, great. And if we can't, then I'll opt to walk away from the deal. And it's not because I'm afraid of doing business with them, but why put somebody in unless it's a growth issue? If the person just doesn't like you,
mm-hmm.
why do business with them? It'll create
Right.
problems later. There's plenty of business out there to do. There's plenty of relationships, plenty of people that will like you for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've just learned to do, because um, I don't want negativity in my life. That's why I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to that kind of thing, because the more we put it into our mind, the more it comes out. And so I've learned to guard myself from that. And if a person is predominantly negative, and they're unwilling to change or they're unwilling to talk about it and they really have no interest in you, I'll put them out of my life. And it's not being mean, it's doing myself a favor because I know that if I'm not saving myself first, I can't save anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So if a guy is sitting there and you receive a lifeline and he tries to jump on top of you and drown you and he's not grabbing the rope, you got to kick him off to grab the rope and get pulled up.
Right.
You
And then
know,
he can grab onto your leg.
correct. If he doesn't, it's his problem at that point. You
Right.
can't
Right.
make somebody save themselves that doesn't want to be saved.
Right. Or they're just not ready.
Correct.
Because everything is about timing, and it's a lot of times divine timing, because I know within myself there are things that I want to have happen now, or I want things to change right now, but it's taken me about 6-7 years now to realize, no, I can put it out there, but it's going to slowly occur, and I still have to do the searching and the and the becoming more aware and educating and getting more knowledge and doing this and doing that before it'll finally align itself and everything will start to open up. And that's one of the biggest things that a lot of us in life don't realize. It's a matter of finding the right alignment of everything for it to start going smoothly.
You also got to understand, though, and I agree with what you say to a point. I believe that people use that as an excuse. Oh, well, it's not the right timing. It's never the right time. I mean, think about it. When's the right time to die?
Well, there is a difference between excusatitis.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
But when there's people that are genuinely like doing the efforts, doing this, doing that, doing everything that they need to be actively doing, and it's still not working out for them.
Then what happens is they have to change what they're doing. They need a tweaking. And so when's the right time for that? Never the right time. It's a matter of you make it the right time by deciding you're going to go forward. And a lot of people, they say they're going to go forward, they intend to go forward, but then they hold themselves back out of fear of what they're going to encounter. And so that is a majority of the time delays that people experience in their own personal internal field.
I've been guilty of that a few times. But
anyways,
final question. Do you have a final answer?
Is this like Jeopardy?
Yeah, well, don't you know Jeopardy? No. So, ultimately, when you live your life and you've become or you are the entrepreneur success that you vision yourself to be, how do you want to be remembered when it's your time for retirement or when it's your physical time of ceasing?
That's a good question. I think everyone should write their gravestone prior to ever getting there. I want it to be said that I was the person who connected people together, raised the standard of bar of their life, and gave them hope and belief in themselves beyond what they had to begin with, empowered them to become the best them that they could be by enhancing their life, by improving their life, not only financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, but I brought value in all my conversations with them. You know, I challenge them to rise the bar. They don't have to like me. Not everybody's going to like me, but challenging them to become better instead of becoming the status quo is the key. Because we have too many people that just want to pass through and they don't bring value to this world. We all have our own internal value to bring. We just have to believe we have it to believe, and do so.
Right. So has anybody been in your life recently or lately, other than your mentor or whatever, that's been bringing value and all these things that you're describing into your life at all? Or
yes, there's quite a few people actually that brought value in my life and that bring value.
Do they know that?
Some do, some don't.
Really?
I don't think that they always need to know. I think in the end, when we graduate from this world, we'll know. We'll all be able to thank each other for that price. Because, sometimes it's not about getting thanked for what we do in that value. Sometimes it's just we're meant to be there in that person's life at that moment. And I think we spend all our time. A lot of people spend way too much time trying to get credit for those changes in their life. I used to be that guy. Oh, hey, I changed that person's tire. Make me a hero. Oh, I did this for that person. Make me a hero. And really, all I was doing is singing my own accolades and praises. So I stopped doing that because really, it doesn't matter. You've got to give people time to thank you on their own accord when they're ready, when they recognize. And they may not recognize it for years. They may never see it till after you're gone. But then it comes to the point of, are you doing what you're doing so that people will be thanking you and appreciating you? Are you doing what you're supposed to do because it's the right thing? This world has people full of fear.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what we all have to overcome.
Well, if we can become a fear releaser, I intend to be a fear releaser.
I think that's a new job.
You help people. You help people get through their personal fears and it's their own prisons that they create.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and part of that is learning not to build walls. Instead of building a wall that keeps everyone out and keeps you in, build a gate and a fence where you can see over and you can open the gate and you can
Or
close the gate.
the chain link fence. Where
That'll
you look
work.
and you go inside.
No. What if you got a crazy crooked eye? No, you can't look through. You know, squirrel.
Well, thank you for being my guest today, and I hope everybody enjoyed this show and my interview with Lonnie Ombre.
Embryo.
Once again, you can contact him at fortunesuccesscoach@gmail.com. You can text message him at 352-201-2825. And do you have a website or blog or anything? Find you on Facebook?
Not at the time. You can find me on Facebook.
You could Google him. He'll pop up. You might have to pick which one you want, though. But
yeah, there's a few pages on me. So,
but anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful and fabulous week. Come back next week. I am looking forward to hearing some other people give some feedback.
thank you for having me on your show, Mama J, and happy birthday.
Ah, thank you. He let the rabbit out of the hat. Yeah, it's my birthday. Hello, everybody. I tell you what, let's have a contest. Guess how old not how old I am. Guess how
62.
young. Guess how young I am. No, you're not. You're banned now. No, just
Oh.
Anyway, I really hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week and realize and know that you are the light of the world and it is within you. And it's just a matter of you to open up and realize that and find your alignment and connection with your higher level of consciousness and God and all the wonderful, beautiful things in this world that we can create. So y'all take care. I'll see you next time on the Mama J Speak Show. Bye.